sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now, first the headlines. Rivers Police on red alert over 7/7 celebration. Edo PDP to appeal court verdict on primary. FG pledges commitment to sustained infrastructural development. Naira gains 0.70 on official markets. Masoud Pezeshkian wins Iran's presidential election. Daily reveals court position on Davido, Sophia's battle. Russian wrestlers reject Summer Olympic Games invitation. The news in details. River State Police Command has placed its officers and men on red alert over planned nationwide celebration of Founders Day by the Neo-Black movement scheduled to hold on Sunday, July 7, 2024. The command, in a statement in Port Harcourt by its spokesperson, XP Grace Iringe Koko, said that the alert was necessary to curtail cult-related activities in the state. She said the event, codenamed I Day or 7/7, was meant to be observed in all states of the Federation, especially in higher institutions of learning with potential risk of all forms of violence. The PPRO said the Commissioner of Police, CP Olatunji Rowan Disu, PSC, has directed all area commanders, DPOs and tactical team commanders to carry out preemptive and response raids in all identified cult hideouts, black spots, hotels, and with close monitoring of all higher educational institutional campuses and public places that may be used as meeting points by the cult leaders to ensure that the planned I Day celebration does not hold within the state and that suspected cult members are arrested and made to face the law. She advised higher institutions of learning to increase security measures and maintain strict supervision to ensure the safety and well-being of all students. She, however, urged the educators and the school administrators to be observant of unusual gatherings or activities among students in their institutions. SB Grace warned any group of persons under any nomenclature, particularly members of the Neo-Black Movement of Africa, aka Black Acts, to steer clear of the state. She said the police and other security agencies were prepared to go after and deal with anyone caught within the ambits of the law. Embattled Executive Chairman of Ikwere Local Government Area of River State, Samuel Wanosike, has called on the Inspector General of Police to arrest the federal law Chinyere for allegedly inciting violence in River State. Wanosike made the call in a chat room with newsmen. According to him, Chinyere and his other colleagues are only looking for money from Governor Sim Fubara and nothing more. He stated that a lawmaker turned himself into the Supreme Court by giving interpretation to the appeal court ruling on the Rivers Assembly crisis while the full judgment was not out yet. He accused Chinyere of harassing leaders and the judiciary and warned him to steer clear of Rivers politics as he is not an indigene of the state. Caretaker Committee Chairman of the All Progressives Congress in Rivers State, Chief Tony Okocha, has said that Honorable Martin Amehule and 24 others are not card-carrying in the party's register. He stated this while reacting to the ruling of the appeal court in the Rivers State House of Assembly leadership tussle. According to him, what they were doing at the time was to woo Amehule and his men to the party, as it is within their right to woo people to the party. Fresh oil spill has hit the Bodo community in the Gokana local government area of Rivers State, destroying farmlands. ATN learned that the oil spillage occurred on Thursday from a pipeline belonging to Shell Petroleum Development Company. This came barely 2 months after a similar incident occurred along the pipeline at different locations in the area. Confirming the incident to newsmen, a community-based environmental advocacy group, the Eco Defense Alliance, said it has lost count of oil spill incidents in Bodo City. In a statement, the coordinator, Eco Defense Alliance, Damian Bogbara, said the latest spill occurred on 5th July 2024 at about 12:45 a.m. in the Sogi area of the Bodo community. Executive Director of the group, Damian Bobara, decried incessant spill in Ogoni land, wondering why relevant authorities have failed to prefer a permanent solution to the menace. He called on the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency to embark on a joint investigation visit with Shell and other relevant stakeholders to the spill site in the Sagi area of Bodo City and not to delay, as it has always been doing. He further said the JIV report would help to determine the cause and volume of the spill and the extent of damage to the environment and the ecosystem, and warned against any attempt to manipulate the JIV process and its outcome. Nigerian Railway Corporation has suspended Warri-Itakpe train services due to the poor condition of the track from Ujegu in Delta State to Itakpe in Kogi State. That was disclosed in a notice to customers indicating that the agency planned to resume operations on Monday, July 8, 2024. According to RC, the suspension, effective from Friday, was attributed to an obstruction on the track. Atlantic Television Network learned that one of the coaches of a train traveling from Itakpe in Kogi State to Ujevu in Delta State derailed around 7:15 p.m. on Thursday as it approached Abraka rail station. Passengers reportedly enjoyed a smooth ride until reaching a point near Abraka in Ethiopia East, local government area of Delta State. Atlantic Television Network gathered that frightened passengers jumped through the doors while the train was decelerating, causing the derailed coach to drag the remaining coaches along with it. However, no casualties were reported in the incident. Atlantic Television Network recalls that the federal government launched the e-ticketing services for the Lagos, Ibadan and Ikape-Warri train routes in October of last year. The service aims to revolutionize the way passengers book and pay for their train tickets, eliminating the need for physical tickets or cash transactions. Special anti-kidnapping operatives of the Delta State Police Command deployed to Ughelli axis have neutralized a suspected kidnapper in a gun duel, during which 3 others were arrested and are presently in police custody. This was contained in a statement signed by the Police Public Relations Officer for Delta State Command, SP Bright Edafe, copies of which were made available to journalists in Warri on Sunday. The statement disclosed that the police team, acting on credible intelligence, gathered over a period and in-depth technical intelligence related to the kidnapping of one male victim, name withheld, kidnapped on 17th May 2024 at his residence in the Ajdakota area of Ughelli South local government area of Delta State, and later murdered by the kidnappers, cracked down the deadly kidnapping syndicate responsible for the act. The command said one AK-47 rifle was recovered by the police team from the hideouts of the hoodlums, mentioning the investigation was ongoing. Atlantic Television Network recalls that the Commissioner of Police, CP Olufemi Agbaniwanda, on resumption of duty as the 22nd Police Commissioner in Delta State, reacted to the incessant kidnappings in Ughelli axis, which necessitated the change in security architecture in Ughelli and deployment of a new divisional police officer to Ughelli Division. The CP also directed the deployment of a special operations team to Ughelli led by ASP Julius Robinson with a clear mandate to flush out kidnappers in the area. The proactive measures taken by the CP have since been yielding positive dividends, as manifested in the noticeable successes recorded so far by the special teams. There was pandemonium on Wednesday morning following the gruesome murder of an Anglican reverend by his son at Ukpare town in Olomu Kingdom, Delta State. Atlantic Television Network gathered that the priest, identified as Reverend Isaac Umuri, was murdered by his 28-year-old son, Ufoma Umuri, in his sleep in the early hours of Wednesday. The late priest was one of the reverends attached to St. John's Anglican Church, Okpare Olomu, Ugeli South local government area, Delta State. Atlantic Television Network reliably learned that the incident occurred around 2 a.m., with the mother narrowly escaping being hacked to death. Reacting to this, Dr. Nweke Emmanuel, a lecturer and public affairs analyst, have asked parents to seek psychiatric and psychological help for children prone to violent outbursts and violent or with psychological issues so as to prevent fatal incidents in the future. Speaking on Atlantic Television Society Watch, Dr. Emmanuel elucidates further.
Especially in violent manner. There's nothing, for what he showed is love, especially as a priest. He wouldn't want his image too, he wouldn't want his son to be in the police net. But if your son cannot be in the police net, he can at least be in a psychiatric unit where that is a child showing malfunctioning conduct. So the person should at least be in the psychiatric unit where he said will be examined and proper counseling done. And then at some point you see him with arms. No.
Former Edo State Governor and Senator representing Edo North Adams Oshiomhole has denied allegations that the APC orchestrated the crisis surrounding the invalidation of the People's Democratic Party governorship primary in Edo State. Speaking to journalists at the State House in Abuja, Oshiomhole characterized the situation as an internal PDP conflict, stating and he thinks the lesson is very clear, namely that parties must be encouraged to obey the laws that regulate the conduct of primaries. The denial came in the wake of a federal high court ruling that declared the PDP's primary election, which produced Mr. Aswen Ighodalo as the party's governorship candidate, invalid. The court cited the disenfranchisement of the authentic party delegates as the reason for its decision. Oshiomhole emphasized the legal impossibility of APC involvement, explaining by the law another party cannot go into intra-party conflict in court. He further highlighted the pre-existing divisions within the Edo PDP, referring to conflicts between the party's current leadership and the legacy group. People's Democratic Party says it will appeal the court's verdict invalidating the party's primary election in Edo State. On Thursday, Justice Inyang Ekwo of the Federal High Court in Abuja voided the February 22nd primary that produced Aswe Ighodalo as its candidate. According to the court, the exercise was voided on the ground that 378 delegates who were supposed to vote at the primary election were unlawfully excluded by PDP. But the party, through its National Campaign Council for the Edo State election, described the court verdict as a little setback. Chairman of the council and Adamawa State Governor Amaju Finitiri reacted to the court verdict on Saturday at an inaugural meeting with the PDP National Executive Committee, which was held in Abuja, the nation's capital. He urged council members to be steadfast, expressing confidence that the PDP is in the race to win, following what he described as the sterling performance of the outgoing Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki. He said the party is solidly behind its governorship candidate, Aswe Ighodalo, to ensure he wins the September 21 governorship election in Edo State. For the PDP National Legal Advisor, Adeyemi Ajibade, the position of the party on the judgment does not in any way invalidate the candidacy of its party. He also noted that the PDP has 8 cases following the Edo State PDP primaries, and Friday's ruling was the 7th, and he is hopeful that the appeal court will set the record straight. On his part, Ighodalo acknowledged that the forthcoming election isn't going to be an easy one, as there will be many distractions. He, however, expressed hope that PDP will be victorious, as he and his running mate are ready to give everything they have for the election. Edo State government has warned against unlawful gathering by members of cult groups across the state in the guise of celebrating their anniversary on July 7th. The State Commissioner for Communication and Orientation, Chris Nehi Kare gave the warning in a statement made available to newsmen on Saturday in Benin City. Nehi Kare said the state government was reliably informed by relevant security agencies that IA Black Axe is celebrating its anniversary on the 7th July 2024. He said the celebration could lead to attacks on other cult groups. The commissioner said the state government has put the police and other security agencies in the state on the alert to arrest and prosecute any group who disregard the state anti-cultism law. He, however, urged members of the public to go about their lawful activities as the security agencies are on alert to secure lives and properties across the state. Police in Anambra State have issued a stern warning against the celebration of Court Day in the state on Sunday. SP Tochukwu Ikenga, spokesperson for the State Police Command, stated that there are rumors circulating about plans by cultists to observe their day on Sunday. He emphasized that anyone apprehended in connection with this would face severe consequences. In a press release, Ikenga stated that the command cautions hoteliers, bar proprietors, and managers of event recreation centers to be vigilant regarding such gatherings in their premises, as there will be repercussions for non-compliance. The command reiterated its commitment to enforce the recently enacted anti-cultism law against anyone involved in cult-related activities or any action that jeopardizes security in the state. Operatives of the Ondo State Security Network Agency, popularly known as the Amotokun Corps, were in the weekend engaged in a violent clash with suspected headmen in Sango Igoba, Akure, the state capital. Atlantic Television Network gathered that the attack occurred when the Amotokun operatives were enforcing the anti-open grazing law of the state. During the attack, some of the operatives were brutally macheted, with the violent clash leading to a halt in vehicular movement for several hours along the Ado-Akure road. The operatives were responding to a distress call from farmers in the area over the destruction of their farmlands and crops by the herders, cattle when they were swooped on and attacked. Atlantic Television Network recalls that the late governor of the state, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, signed the anti-open grazing bill into law on August 13, 2021, which prohibited open grazing of animals across the state. While confirming the development to newsmen, the public relations officer of the Amotokun Corps, Jimo Adenikain, disclosed that the operatives deployed for the operation displayed courage and determination in de-escalating the volatile situation despite the violent assault they endured. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Chief Barrister Nyesom Wike, has presented 50 operational vehicles with communication gadgets to security agencies to strengthen the fight against insecurity in the territory. Barrister Wike, while handing over the vehicles to the agencies in Abuja on Friday, said the measure was to support security agencies with the needed logistics to enable them to combat crime in the FCT. Atlantic Television Network gathered that the FCT Police Command got 24 vehicles, the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps 8, Advanced Party Security Monitoring, the FCT Administration 6, and the State Security Services got 5. Also, the Guard Brigade of the Nigerian Army received 3 vehicles, while the Nigeria Air Force 005 Abuja Naval Unit, Nigerian Immigration Service, and National Drug Law Enforcement Agency received 1 each.
That SCT administration, under the urban leadership of His Excellency Barrister Nyesom Wike, has focused on one of the corporate responsibilities of governance, that is security of lives and properties. And this marks a significant milestone in our commitment to ensuring safety and security within FCT and the neighboring states. Your Excellency, sir, we are deeply grateful to your focused leadership for taking time to integrate these vehicles for onward distribution to the benefiting agencies.
The administration strongly believes that provision of this crime-fighting equipment will greatly empower and enhance the capacity of our security agencies in fighting crime and criminalities, respond promptly to distress situations, as well as rise to the security challenges confronting the territory. Please permit me to state here that crime prevention is the responsibility of all, and as such, all hands must remain on deck to ensure safety and security of all.
Minister of Federal Cabinet, for the giving up, all the things I've been doing in the FCT to make sure that the security of lives and property is guaranteed. When I got there, I saw about 100 vehicles. I was baffled that Mr. President has come again. We want to appreciate you, sir, and we are promising you today that we are going to make intensive use of these vehicles. We are going to put aside to make sure that everybody in Federal Capital Territory lives. It's a safe area for us. Thank you very much, sir.
Meanwhile, the Honorable Minister of State for FCT, Maria Mahmood, Director, Department of Security of Federal Capital Territory Administration, and the FCT Commissioner of Police thanked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the Honorable Minister of FCT for putting heads together in ensuring that Abuja City is free of attacks by providing comfortable vehicles for security personnel to fight crime.
We're now talking about a key factor, a key agenda in the New Hope mantra, and that has to do with security. One of the key points or priorities of Mr. President is security of life and property. Any government that cannot secure lives and property has no business in governance. And so it's a priority for Mr. President that Nigerians are secured. And who are those that are responsible? It is various security agencies, the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the police, the civil defense, the state security services, and all other security agencies. For us as a government, it is not the responsibility of Mr. President to go and identify where the criminals are. It's not my responsibility or the Minister of State responsibility to go and engage criminals. But it is our responsibility to provide the tools for the security agencies to confront these criminals and make sure we sleep with our two eyes closed. Let it not be that the people will not feel the presence of these vehicles. Don't relent. We are here to give you support. And so, on behalf of the FCT, on behalf of Mr. President, I want to sincerely say that whatever the security agencies need for them to combat crime, we are ready to give. We are ready to give. Because
Jigawa State Executive Council has approved the release of 3.5 billion naira as a non-refundable grant to support 30,000 farmers to boost production. The State Commissioner for Information, Youth, Sports and Culture, Honorable Sagir Musa, disclosed this while briefing newsmen on the outcome of the meeting yesterday. He said the grant, which included cash, farm inputs and implements, would be distributed to selected rural Fadama farmers to enhance their capacity to produce more. According to him, the program is being supported by the World Bank under the COVID-19 Economic Recovery and Stimulation Design to cushion the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. Honorable Sagir added that the 30,000 beneficiaries were carefully selected by the Ministry of Agriculture and Natural Resources under the Fadama Phase 4 and 5 to boost food security and improve the livelihoods of rural communities. The Commissioner reiterated the commitment of Governor Umar Namadi to empower Jigawa people through their own businesses for development. In efforts to enhance civil-military cooperation in Zamfara State, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General T.Y. Labaja, has urged the people to provide vital information on bandits' hideouts to the military for prompt response. The COAS made this appeal through Brigadier General Sani Ahmed, the commanding officer of 1 Brigade Gusau. The COAS donated medical consumables, writing materials and clothes to the less privileged through the Nigerian Army's 1 Brigade Gusau. Colonel Joseph Umaro, who represented the commanding officer of 1 Brigade, stated during the formal launch of the distribution at 1 Brigade Gusau on Friday that the program aims to assist students and less privileged individuals in the host communities with education and livelihood support. He further explained that these donations were part of the Nigerian Army Day celebration in the state and included quick impact projects aimed at fostering civil-military cooperation. The items provided include writing materials for selected primary and secondary school students and clothes and footwear for the less privileged in the host communities, aimed at strengthening cordial relationship with the Army to facilitate their operations in these states. He urged the host communities in Zamfara State to collaborate with the military in combating insurgency and other forms of criminality. Troops of the Nigerian Army deployed for a special clearance operation in Sambisa Forest have eliminated 11 Islamic State of West Africa province terrorists. The Nigerian Army, in a statement on its official social media handle, disclosed this on Saturday. It said the feat was achieved in coordinated special clearance operations with a hybrid force on terrorist enclave in Jongo village within the notorious Forest. It said that the troops targeted the enclave and engaged the terrorists in a fierce gun battle, killing some while others fled in disarray. The army said its troops further conducted exploitation ahead of the enclave, leading to the capture of some arms. According to the post, the arms include 99 rounds of 7.62 times 54 millimeters of the metal link, 19 rounds of 7.62 times 39 millimeter, 3 AK-47 rifle magazines, 2 36 hand grenades, and 2 locally made guns. This successful operation showcases the operational effectiveness of the Nigerian Army in combating terrorism and securing security in the region. You are watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break.
Jack us up and down like this now.
I hope nobody carry me. Hello.
Why you ask? Oh?
Because this road where they see, so you no guarantee safe delivery. Oh.
We just dey vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Road so e no dey, light o usai, the infrastructure nko e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, spoil everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
I know that no verse. Now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear. I'm hearing you.
Yes.
Corruption not in my country.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now. We go block later. You remember that contract we will do that time now? They don't pay.
Hey! But first, you see the house rent with the old things. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap him.
Beg, see, you know, say I get annual levy why they pay for club. Where me and boys they shout beer in our house, I go pay that one. You remember say me and tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy now.
Okay, they pay you money now. We don't they beg caretaker? We they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time. Money can't come now. You won't divert time. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure?
Sure.
Corruption not in my country.
This message is brought to you by the Akinfade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sport on ATN.
Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Tinubu has charged the Nigerian army to ensure that violent groups do not overwhelm peaceful and law-abiding Nigerians. The president equally told the armed forces that the Nigerians must be safe in their homes and public places. Tinubu stated this on Saturday at the grand finale of the Nigerian Army celebration held at the 3rd Division of the Nigerian Army Rukuba Basa local government area of Plateau State. The president, who was represented by the Minister of Defense, Mohammed Badaru Abubakar, added, "I am aware that you are now deployed in all states of the Federation, making sacrifices daily in a bid to secure Nigeria." Earlier in his remarks, the Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tarid Labaja, said the Nigerian Army has matured as a highly professional and potent force over the past 161 years. Labaja stated the Army have completely aligned themselves with the directive of the Commander-in-Chief, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, and the Armed Forces, and other security agencies should decisively deal with all security challenges facing the country, noting that the Army will continue to conduct themselves in a manner that reflects them as a committed and professional force. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to continuing infrastructural development across all geopolitical zones to foster accelerated economic growth. According to the Minister of Works, David Umahi, this commitment underpins the President's innovative approach to road reconstruction and rehabilitation aimed at boosting industrialization and generating employment. The minister stated this at the ongoing stakeholders meeting for the North Central Zone, which included Kogi, Nasarawa, and Benue in Lafia. The meeting attracted stakeholders to discuss the progress and plans for the legacy projects, highlighting the collaborative efforts of the federal government and state governments to deliver infrastructure development. While commending the president's innovative approach to road reconstruction and rehabilitation targeted at boosting industrialization for employment generation, the minister encouraged all the stakeholders to support the renewed hope agenda of President Tinubu's administration on the infrastructural development drives. In a statement on Saturday, Vinobi Uchenna Glory, on behalf of the Ministry of Works, Head of Information and Public Relations Department, the Governor of Kogi State, Ahmed Ododo, acknowledged President Tinubu's efforts benefiting Kogi and Nigerians while commending the Minister of Works for focusing on the Abaji and Lokoja roads. Nasarawa Governor Abdullahi Sule also commended for completing long-abandoned projects and praised the minister for his effective work. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning Atiku Bagudu on Saturday explained that Nigeria signed the Samoa Agreement with the European Union to boost food security and inclusive economic development, amongst other vital areas. He stated this at a press briefing on Saturday in the nation's capital, Abuja, clarifying once again that none of the articles of the agreement between Nigeria and the EU showed that the former has recognized lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender rights. Controversy has enveloped the Samoa Agreement signed by the federal government, with many frowning upon what they thought was the recognition of LGBT rights by the Nigerian government. The Samoa deal sparked a barrage of reactions online, with many opposing LGBT rights, which is contrary to the anti-same-sex marriages and gay relationships law enacted in 2014 by then-President Goodluck Jonathan. At a press conference on Saturday, Bagudu, alongside his counterpart in the Ministry of Information, Mohammed Idris, said Nigeria wouldn't enter into an agreement that was antithetical to the Constitution, as well as the religious and cultural sensibilities of the heterogeneous people of Nigeria. The Economic Planning Minister explained that about 200 areas of cooperation were contained in the agreement signed by Nigeria, and that aside from the agreement, an implementation agreement would be signed in each of the areas of cooperation. He said the areas of cooperation would lead to capital and technical support. Executive Chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Ola Olukoyede, has issued a note of warning to corrupt elements, especially in the public sector, stating that they can run but cannot escape justice. Olukoyede stated this when the executives of the Committee of Youth Mobilization and Sensation paid him a courtesy visit at the EFCC headquarters in Abuja. He condemned public office holders who would not want to account for their stewardship, stating that such acts of impunity have nurtured corruption in the country. He called on all well-meaning Nigerians to support the EFCC in its efforts to redeem the youth from the path of derailment. He stressed that Nigerians who desire a better future for the youth and the country, especially those who have suffered harm and humiliation from cybercrime, must stand up and be counted for collaboration and partnership with the EFCC. He appreciated the group for its anti-corruption stance and interventions in the direction of reorientation on the youth away from cybercrime. National Environmental Standards and Regulations Enforcement Agency says it has sealed 46 facilities in 10 states of the Federation for various forms of environmental violations. Assistant Director Press and Public Relations Amaka Ejiofor, in a press statement over the weekend, indicated that the enforcement exercise was carried out in Borno, Gombe, Ogun, Enugu, Edo, Osun, Oyo, Plateau, Nasarawa, and Taraba states respectively. Ejiofor further informed that the facilities were shut down for refusing to comply with the provisions of the National Environmental Regulations. She said their offences include violation of the Environmental Impact Assessment Act, lack of environmental audit report, and failure to develop and implement an environmental management plan. Ejiofor said that some of the facilities were also sanctioned for not installing an effluent treatment plant, non-availability of the necessary permits relevant to their operations, and poor housekeeping, among others. Meanwhile, the Director General of NESREA, Dr. Innocent Bariko, has expressed displeasure over the non-compliant status of many facilities, warning that the trend was unhealthy for the health of the citizens and the environment. He added that laws are made for the smooth running of the society, and compliance with the laws enhances wholesome development. He encourages Nigerians to be true environmental vanguards by obeying the laws and reporting any environmental violations. Now to business news. President Bola Tinubu has decried Nigeria's power generation capacity, saying that the capacity of 4.5 gigawatts is shameful. Tinubu called for the collaboration of the Presidential Economic Coordination Council members to increase Nigeria's on-grid electricity capacity. This was disclosed in a statement by the presidential spokesman, Ajuru Ngelale, who said the president spoke during the PECC inauguration at the State House in Abuja. The Nigerian leader also highlighted the need for innovative solutions to the country's economic challenges, stressing the importance of public partnerships in driving economic reforms. He announced measures under the Economic Stabilization Program aimed at stabilizing the economy, enhancing job creation and fostering economic security. Dwelling on energy security, the president said the initiative, which includes power, oil and gas, aims to increase on-grid electricity to be delivered to homes and businesses from about 4.5 gigawatts to 6 gigawatts in 6 months. According to Tinubu, the scheme also aims to increase oil production to 2 million barrels per day within the next 12 months. Earlier, Tinubu announced a 2 trillion economic stabilization plan to revive Nigeria's struggling economy. Naira on Friday gained 0.70% at the official foreign exchange market as the 5-day trading week ended calmly. After trading on Friday, the dollar was quoted at 1,509.67 naira compared to 1,520.24 naira quoted on Thursday at the Nigerian Autonomous Foreign Exchange Market, according to data from the FQ Securities Exchange Limited. The dollar supplied by willing buyers and willing sellers decreased by 32.64% to $111.88 million on Friday from $173.51 million on Thursday. The intraday high closed at 1,535 naira on Friday against 1,550 naira closed on Thursday, while the intraday low was quoted at 1,450 naira on the same day compared to 1,430 naira quoted Thursday. At the parallel market, popularly called the black market, the naira lost 5 naira as the dollar traded for 1,525 naira on Friday as against 1,520 naira per dollar on Thursday. The FX market reached convergence on Thursday as the naira-dollar rate quoted at 1,520 naira at both the official and parallel market. This realignment in the FX market marks a pivotal moment reflecting efforts by the Central Bank of Nigeria to stabilize the naira and reduce discrepancies between different market segments. Confidence. Nationwide power outage has hit Nigeria as the national grid experienced system collapse again on Saturday. Emeka Eze, the head corporate of communications at Enugu Electricity Distribution Company, disclosed this in a notice on Saturday. According to the notice, the national grid collapse occurred at around 15:09 hours on Saturday. Consequently, bulk electricity supply from the Transmission Company of Nigeria National Control Center has been disrupted. EEDC said the situation is the reason for the loss of power supply in the southeast states, Abia, Anambra, Ebonyi, Enugu, and Imo. The development comes days after TCN announced that electricity generation declined to 4,723.30 megawatts, peak on July 4, 2024, compared to 4,800 megawatts in May. In 2024 alone, Nigeria has recorded at least 3 system collapses. System collapse has occurred about 227 times in the last 14 years, according to TCN. President of the Petroleum Products Retail Outlet Owners Association, Billy Gillis Harry, has revealed that the non-supply of premium motor spirit by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited is the reason for the product's scarcity in Abuja, Nasarawa, and other states. Gilly Harry disclosed this in an exclusive interview with newsmen on Saturday, reacting to the re-emergence of fuel queues in Nigeria. Atlantic Television Network gathered that few queues have resurfaced in the nation's capital and neighboring Nasarawa, as well as other states, as motorists scramble for the products. Atlantic Television Network also in power. Meanwhile, the majority of filling stations along the Kubwa Expressway, Lugbe, and Airport Road axis were without fuel on Saturday morning. Speaking on the development, Gilly Harris lamented that he visited numerous filling stations but could not find fuel. According to him, fuel marketers cannot fix prices since they are not importing the product. Rather, they sell according to the amount they buy. He stressed that the reason for the few queues and scarcity is because Petron members and marketers do not have the product. Now to international tidbits. Military leaders ruling Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger entered a new confederation Saturday as they signed a treaty during their in Niamey. After having severed ties with an existing West African bloc, the heads of the three countries who took power through coups in recent years decided to take a step further towards greater integration between the member states and adopted a treaty establishing a confederation. They said in a statement at the end of the Saturday's summit. The Confederation of Sahel States, which will use the acronym AES, will group some 72 million people. The three countries in January said they were quitting the Economic Community of West African States, an organization they accused of being manipulated by France, their former colonial ruler. The three countries have all broken their military and defense links with France, seeking greater cooperation with Russia. Relations between ECOWAS deteriorated following a July 2023 coup that brought Tiani to power when ECOWAS imposed sanctions and even threatened to intervene militarily to restore the ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. The sanctions were lifted in February, but relations between the two sides remain frosty. ECOWAS is holding a leaders' summit today in Abuja, where the questions of relations with AES will be on the agenda. The AES countries in March created a joint military force to combat the jihadist group that regularly attack their territory. Heart surgeon and reform advocate Masoud Pezeshkian has won the contested presidential runoff in Iran. The lawmaker, who has promised to reach out to the West for reforms to reposition Iran for advancement, won the presidential runoff by beating hard-fighting rival Saeed Jalili. By gaining a majority of the votes cast on Friday, Pezeshkian has become Iran's next president, the country's Ministry of Interior said on Saturday. Pezeshkian got 53.7% of the vote, or 16.3 million, while Jalili received 44.3%, or 13.5 million. Pezeshkian said in his first public comment after the results were announced that he is not a winner, takes it all victory. Not long after the declaration of results, Jalili conceded defeat, asking Iranians to respect the president-elect. The runoff on Friday followed a June 28 ballot for a successor to Ibrahim Raisi, who died in a helicopter crash in May. Political analysts believe the Pezeshkian's triumph might see the promotion of a pragmatic foreign policy ease tensions over the stalled negotiations with major powers to revive a 2015 nuclear deal and improve prospects for social liberalization in Iran. U.S. President Joe Biden has claimed only God can convince him to quit the presidential race. There have been calls for Biden to step down following a poor outing at the presidential debate with Republican candidate Donald Trump on June 27th. Some U.S. voters, political analysts, and stakeholders have also expressed concerns over the president's health and mental alertness after the debate. But speaking in an interview on Friday, Biden hypothetically said if the Lord Almighty came down and said he should get out of the race, he would get out of the race. But the Lord Almighty is not coming down. Now to entertainment news. Dele Momodu, a celebrated Nigerian journalist and uncle to Sophia Momodu, has revealed the position of the court over the custody battle between singer Davido and his baby mama. Modu, in a post on his social media handles on Saturday, disclosed that the court has referred the case for possible settlement by the alternative dispute resolution. Sharing his opinion over the ongoing saga, Dele advised Davido and Sophia to have a proper structure put in place for their daughter's welfare and take this issue off social media. Now to sports news. Serie A club Lazio have officially announced the signing of Ofisayo Dele Bashiru from Hatayspor. Dele Bashiru joined Lazio on loan with an obligation to buy. Lazio paid a fee of around €2 million to secure the loan and will be obliged to pay a further €4 million to make the deal permanent. The 23-year-old arrived Hatayspor on a free transfer last summer after leaving Sheffield Wednesday. The midfielder scored 9 goals and provided 6 assists in 39 appearances across all competitions for Hatayspor last season. Russian wrestlers who were given permission to participate in this summer's Olympic Games have rejected the invitation, the Russian Wrestling Federation said Saturday. After initially being barred from the Games over Moscow's military offensive on Ukraine, the International Olympic Committee has moved to allow a handful of Russian athletes to take part under a neutral flag if they meet strict conditions. But the National Federation said Saturday that 10 wrestlers who pass the eligibility checks would boycott the Games in protest to the IOC. The Federation's executive committee, coaches and wrestlers came to the unanimous decision to refuse to participate in the Olympic Games. Russian athletes hoping to compete in Paris must demonstrate they do not support Russia's military offensive on Ukraine and have no links to the country's armed forces. Those admitted will have to compete under a neutral banner and will be excluded from any team event and also the opening ceremony. Russian officials have repeatedly blasted the IOC policy. Manchester United has submitted a new and improved transfer offer for João Neves. According to Correio da Manhã, the Red Devils' new offer is worth £60 million. However, the report added that Man United's offer was rejected by Benfica. Benfica had earlier rejected a £51 million offer for the 19-year-old in June. Neves has a release clause worth £105 million